You're watching Utah's #1 news channel. This is 2 News at 4.
25 years later in Salt Lake, police have now filed murder charges in the death of a 15-month-old baby. Thanks for joining us for Utah's #1 News at 4. I'm Heidi Hatch.
And I'm Chris Miller. Officers say 53-year-old Louis Duran killed this baby girl back in October of 1988. And today, prosecutors filed formal charges against him. Rod Decker on the story for us. Rod, why did it take 25 years?
Back to the studio.
All right, Rod Decker live in our newsroom. Thank you, Rod. A violent attack to tell you about at a Bountiful gas station.
Police are saying that a man tried to run over his wife with a car and then stabbed her multiple times. This all happened in Common Sense parking lot near 4th North and 5th West. It's in Bountiful. Customers saw what was going on, jumped in and held the suspect, 50-year-old Stepan Badykin, until police arrived. The woman told police the attack happened after she asked for a divorce. Suspect and victim were taken to the hospital to be treated for their injuries. Police say both will survive. A 26-year-old man facing burglary charges. Police say that Adrian Macias broke into a house last night near 200 North and 800 West. The homeowners were not there when he broke in, but officers say they returned home and then caught him in the act. Police responded and arrested him. They say he was hiding in some bushes in front of the house there. Macias has been booked into jail on suspicion of burglary. We'll call it a super road trip. A Utah group just toured all 48 contiguous states in the U.S. here in just 10 days.
And making it even more cool, they made the trek on their motorcycles. Daniel Woodruff has the story.
Now, this group kept a pretty detailed account of their journey across the country. If you'd like to check that out, we've linked to it on our website, KUTV.com. I don't know that I could do 10 days on this thing. I don't even know how to start it, so I think I'll just leave it sitting here safely. Reporting in Salt Lake City, Daniel Woodruff, 2 News.
But in case it does go, he's got his helmet on, so we're good to go.
Well, it looked a little goofy there, Daniel, if you're watching.
Stop, don't make fun of him. My bladder hurts just thinking about it. Good for them, though. That's like a serious
Your bladder
feat.
hurts?
Yeah, like that's
10 days and not a lot of bathroom stops on that.
No.
Yeah. All right, so grab your golden ticket. Tonight we're introducing you to Utah's very own Willy Wonka.
Fresh at 5, we're going inside the story of Utah's Amano Chocolate Factory. Mark Abell joins us.
Yes, he is. And tonight at 5, Dan Rascone will take us inside the story to give us a closer look at how these sweets are made and why he gave up his computer programming job to, I don't know, pursue some sweeter endeavors. We'll find out coming up on 2 News at 5. Guys, back to you.
I'm guessing because the breaks taste better. You can eat your own chocolate. You can go swimming in it.
There you go.
And I didn't see any samples in the newsroom, so I'm going to have to go talk to Dan about that immediately.
He's hiding them somewhere.
In his desk.
All right, check him out.
Thanks, Mark. Groundbreaking today for a new branch at the Salt Lake City Library.
So here we go. The new Marmalade Library, located near 5th North and 3rd West, is set to open next summer. It is going to be a big one. It's going to be 2 stories tall. It'll have dedicated spaces for kids, teens, a cafe if you get hungry while you're reading, public computer stations, study rooms, and green space. Looks very cool.
Yeah.
In national news now, one superb speller will win the top prize tonight at the Scripps National Spelling Bee.
But besides the glory that comes with winning, contestants say the event also teaches some life lessons. Jan Crawford has that story. Well, I got an interesting factoid for you about the spelling bee. No group has dominated the bee in recent years like kids whose parents come from India.
Contestants with that common thread have won the past 6 spelling bees in a row.
That's impressive.
All right, we all need to step up our games, apparently. Host LeVar Burton bringing back the classic TV show Reading Rainbow.
Love this.
Loved it.
Love it. He launched a Kickstarter campaign to drum up funding, and boy, did it work.
Together, we can bring Reading Rainbow back for every child, everywhere.
Butterfly in the sky. Sing along if you know it.
Love it.
Burton began collecting funds via Kickstarter just yesterday. At last checked, contributions were over $2 million. That's double his original goal of $1 million. Reading Rainbow's original run lasted from 1983 to 2006. With the Kickstarter funds, Burton hopes to record new episodes for shows on the internet. Gwyneth Paltrow under fire for comments she made about online trolls.
She needs to zip it, I think. Paltrow compared the effects of negative internet posts about her to being in a war. In a speech, tech leader, she said, quote, "It's almost like how in war you go through this bloody, dehumanizing thing." Several big names have criticized Paltrow for those remarks, including John McCain's wife, Cindy. She tweeted, "Gwyneth Paltrow is a joke. My 2 sons serving the military should talk to her."
Yeah,
She needs a little vacation from the media, I think.
I don't see how that fits
No.
with war. Nobody likes a troll, though.
Just ahead here on 2 News at 4 o'clock, except for those garden kind. Hey, the stinging sensation of a painful sunburn. It's something most of us all know all too well. Coming up next, the number of sunburns doctors say ups a woman's risk of developing skin cancer by 80%.
You're watching Utah's #1 news channel. This is 2 News at 4.
A new study out on skin and sunburns. This is a scary one about cancer. Researchers in Rhode Island say white women who have 5 severe sunburns between the ages of 15 and 20 could increase their chance of developing melanoma by 80%. Doctors say those with high-risk traits like red hair and moles should be extra careful in the sun. I think I already passed up that point and may be in trouble, so keep a close eye. Speaking of the sun and the weather, it's going to be gorgeous the next few days. And when it's nice outside, you really want to start planning an adventure.
Yes, but when you're having an adventure, you can have some problems, some ailments and things like that. Shoulder pain can become a problem. Of course, there's medicine or even surgery in extreme cases that can treat that. Mary Nichols explains.
Well, it's a little breezy out here right now.
Yeah, it looks like it's blowing in some clouds. Sterling, what do we got?
Oh, we got nothing, man. We got beautiful weather. You're in the downtown wind tunnel. It's right by our building. We're in good shape. A little hint here. Rivers and streams are rising. The mid-elevation snowpack is melting. So make sure you stay away from there. Keep your eye on your kids and your pets and yourself. That water is cold and fast.
Good advice. Thank you, Sterling. And that's a great forecast.
It is a nice forecast.
Give it our
Get
stamp
out and
of
enjoy
approval.
it. Okay.
Well, just ahead here on 2 News at 4 o'clock, a scary situation for visitors at Chicago's Willis Tower. What they say happened to an observatory deck while they were snapping those photos and how the tower is responding.
Oh, some of the times I'm so glad that camera is not on. when
Christopher's
we're
a
off.
wild man.
He is a wild man in his
all
past.
exciting stories.
Yes.
Behind the scenes here at 2
Yes.
News.
So we're talking jicama today, and have you had jicama before?
Yeah.
I have. I like it.
I love jicama, and if you're not familiar with it, it's in the produce area of the grocery store. It looks like this. It's a root vegetable, and you're going to peel off the outer layer of it, and we're going to use the white fleshy inside, and it tastes very sweet and very nutty, and I just love jicama. I love it. So Chris, I'm going to have you, if you would, peel. Okay?
Peel.
Peel.
Where do you want the peels?
Yes. You can just actually put them right in that
put 'em
bowl
in here?
there,
Okay.
and then I'll empty that when we go away. Heidi, I'm going to have you help me with the dressing
Super.
because you know there are so many ways you can do dressings, and I don't understand why people. You need to just make them at home. They're easy. You have vinegar, you have oil, and you have honey at home. That's really if you
Yeah.
have those 3 ingredients or sugar, you can make your own vinaigrettes all the time. So what I'm doing is just adding some red onion into my blender here, and why don't you just put about I don't know, half a cup here. The recipe has exact measurements for this, and so I just after so many of these vinaigrettes in time, I'm pretty good at just guesstimating them. So a little bit of oil in there as well with the apple cider vinegar. How you doing there? Did you
We
break
had
my
a little bit
peeler?
of a problem, but I'll
And
fix
then just to what you think would be the sweetness portion of that. To this, I'm going to add a little bit of chili powder for spice.
A little kick.
Yes, and this is really to taste here. I hear Sterling in the background going, "That's enough" or something.
Sterling,
then,
come on in here.
And then
If you're going to hang out, you may as well come to TV.
a little bit of salt and pepper, and this is also the flavor as well. And then you just simply are going to blend this up. This would also be a delicious marinade if you're marinating like grilled vegetables or even chicken or something like that. This would be a really fun marinade as well. So a little bit of salt and pepper. Are you enjoying this over here? Are you enjoying
I made it
this?
through half a jicama here.
You did make it through. I can tell your college days were not spent peeling vegetables.
More
Well,
like ramen noodles.
you know what, viewers? Don't you fret. 1 minute, I will get
quit.
him going on these peeling vegetables. So, Heidi, you got to do the news all by yourself now.
Oh, goodness.
We're going to be here a
this.
while.
You start.
Like, oh, any better. All right, Chris, take it away.
Yeah, we got more news to come here on 2 News at 4 o'clock. Right after the break, a disturbing spike in measles cases. How many cases that doctors have diagnosed so far this year, and what health experts think is pushing the increase?
They are unacceptable, unconscionable, and unworthy of the service of our men and women.
And lawmakers are furious over a new report that reveals systemic scheduling problems in the VA hospital system. How many facilities the scandal now involves and what President Obama says about this mess.
You're watching Utah's #1 news channel. This is 2 News at 4.
Calls for the resignation of VA Secretary Eric Shinsky growing louder today. Welcome back to 2 News at 4:30.
A new report reveals problematic scheduling practices are systemic throughout the entire VA health system. Craig Boswell has the very latest from Washington.
Heidi and Chris, back to you.
A new study reveals the changing face of heroin use here in the U.S.
According to the Washington University School of Medicine, nearly 90% of new heroin users over the past decade are white men and women. Most are young, and the majority live in the suburbs. That's what the study says. Many of the 9,000 people involved in this study got addicted to heroin after first abusing prescription painkillers. Oxycontin pills can cost up to $80 on the street, while heroin can be sold as cheap as $10. Measles cases experiencing an uptick in the U.S. right now. The CDC says so far 288 people have been diagnosed with measles. That's the highest number for any single year with this disease since 2001. 90% of those cases were in people who were not vaccinated or whose vaccination status was unknown. President Obama making a push to find new ways to prevent and treat concussions.
His pitch here is aimed especially at preventing younger athletes from suffering brain damage. Alexis Christoforous has this story.
Alexis Christoforous, CBS News, New York.
New York Giants co-owner Steve Tisch also donated $10 million for concussion research at UCLA.
Scary situation to tell you about for tourists at Chicago's Willis Tower. They went to take some photos here from this glass ledge. It's an enclosure here. It's about 1,300 feet above the ground. They say they were standing on that when the glass cracked beneath them. How's that for a scare? A spokesperson for the tower says it wasn't actually the glass that cracked, but instead it was a protective coating. Either way, Willis Tower has closed the boxes for maintenance for today. Yikes.
That scares me too. Don't they have something like that over the Grand Canyon where you can stand over the hole and look down?
I believe so. Can you imagine hearing a crack? Forget it. Wow.
No kidding.
Hey, how about New York launching a rat squad to try and rid the city of its rodents?
Yeah, Mayor Bill de Blasio has allocated more than $600,000 in funding to target infested areas of the city. City leaders say the rats are bad for tourism. They're also not great for their health.
They live underground in burrows. Where I live on 163rd Street, you see holes in many tree pits. That's where the rats are living.
As part of the rat squad, the health department will also hire 9 new inspectors to locate where rats are reproducing the most. In Florida now, a potential sinkhole has closed a grocery store parking lot. Aerial video here shows multiple cracks in the pavement, which has been closed to traffic. Authorities say the hole is about 30 feet wide, 5 feet deep. It's a big one. No reports so far of damage to nearby buildings.
And in world news now, 12 members of the Ukrainian military have been killed after rebels reportedly shot down a helicopter near the town of Slovyansk. Ukraine's acting president says the rebels used a portable missile to bring down the chopper, which was carrying troops at the time of the attack. White House spokesperson Jay Carney says the incident poses some serious concerns for the Obama administration because it indicates that the rebels now have access to advanced weapons. Devastating new information in the search for Malaysia Airlines Flight 370. Investigators now believe they've been looking in the wrong place.
The area can now be discounted as the final resting place for MH370.
So authorities say the U.S. Navy's underwater drone has finished searching 330 square miles of the ocean floor where acoustic signals were initially detected.
No signs of aircraft debris have been found in the autonomous underwater vehicle since it's joined the search effort.
Crews are now planning to bring in sonar equipment to search a 21,000 square mile section of that ocean where satellite data shows the plane most likely veered off its flight path. Flight 370 disappeared March 8th. 239 people were on board.
Nearly 1/3 of the world's population that's overweight or obese lives in the U.S. That's according to new data from the Institute of Health Metrics and Evaluation. It really is bad news for America. Researchers looked at 188 countries and found the USA has the highest proportion of obese people. A staggering 13% of the world's overweight people live in the U.S. It's about the same amount as China and India combined. Back in the States here, the hot sauce squabble is over. The city council in Irwindale, California, they voted last night to drop a public nuisance lawsuit against the Sriracha plant. People who live near that factory complained fumes from the plant were burning their eyes and caused an all-around nuisance. The owner of the factory tells the San Gabriel Valley Tribune he recently installed filters which should help residents with that sriracha production kicks back up later this summer.
That stuff's hot.
Hot sauce in your eyes. That can't be good.
Okay.
Well, most people have horror stories from when they first learned how to drive, but this next one, I think it takes the cake.
All right, so police in Iowa say the person behind the wheel of a submerged van, you see there in the distance, was learning to drive when they hit the gas instead of the brake. Both people inside were able to get out safely. Police say they're still investigating to make sure that that story lines up. Yikes.
When I was trying to learn to drive the stick, I got pulled over because they thought I was intoxicated. Nope, just didn't know how to do the whole shifting gears bit.
You know what the teacher said in that case? F.
You
failed your driver's class.
That's bad.
Still ahead on 2 News at 4 o'clock. A new approach to bullying. Up next, how teachers at one Utah school are encouraging students to own up and the results they're seeing because of it.
Welcome back. There's a lot of talk about bullying these days, but Hillcrest High School is taking a different approach to solve their problem. They offer a weekly class for girls about how to confront or even own up to unethical behavior as bystanders, targets, and even the perpetrators. Elizabeth Velasquez from Canyon School District is here to tell us more about this program. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So this is something that's just ending right now.
Right.
And it's been going on. How many weeks have you been working on this?
It's a 17-week curriculum, and each session focuses on a different skill.
And is this something that anyone could sign up for that felt like they wanted to take a stand, or who are you working with?
So what we did is we targeted a very specific group of girls who have trust issues with authority, and we wanted to make sure that they learn these skills so that they could be effective when working with other students and other adults.
It sounds like confidence is part of it, learning to stand up for themselves, stand up for other people. What's the most important takeaway they have when they finish up this course?
I would say the fact that they have learned how to trust and respect one another is huge. Not only their peers, but also adults.
How does responsibility play into all of this?
They learn to own up to their behavior. So whereas before they thought that something that they said or did was okay because it was cool, they know that it's not, it's not the right thing to do.
I'm assuming that a lot of the conversation has to come back to respect.
It does. It does. A lot of them were under the impression that they had to be respected before they respected others, and they learned that it's a two-way street. They also have to be respectful of others.
Is the hope that once they get out of this class that what they've learned will spread to other students in the school and trying to create a wave of maybe a different action or reaction?
We sure hope so. We hope that as they're walking around the halls and they see someone being bullied, that they're going to stand up to that person and say something and not have a fear of maybe becoming the target themselves, because that's part of the issue, not wanting to say anything because they don't then want to become the target, or they don't want to be seen as uncool.
Important conversation for all of us to have with our kids.
Yes.
Perfect. Thanks so much for coming in today.
Thank you.
Well, right now we do need to go to the kitchen and finish up our nice jicama salad we're working on.
Yes.
Welcome back. Check this out. Feast your eyes on the tower made entirely of Legos in Budapest, Hungary. It's 115 feet tall. Guinness World Records has certified this as the world's tallest Lego tower.
Sweet. And by the way, it took 450,000 blocks to build it. I don't think anyone has that many at home, even if you have a lot.
That's a lot of
So
Legos.
cool. Well, thanks so much for joining us here on 2 News at 4.
Let's check in with Mark Cobell.